Hello everyone, I'm Global AI. In this video, I listed a few world leaders who have written their names in history in golden letters. Enjoy watching. Leaders who inscribe their names in history. Great statesmen who etch their names in golden letters in history are often those who inspired their people, led major transformations, and created global impact. Napoleon Bonaparte, the military and political genius who reshaped Europe after the French Revolution. Napoleon Bonaparte. The journey of an emperor. Napoleon Bonaparte was born on August 15, 1769, in Ajaccio, Corsica. I grew up in the shadow of the French Revolution, a period that deeply shaped my military career. I joined the army at a young age as an artillery officer. Thanks to my courage and strategic mind, I quickly rose through the ranks. In 1799, I seized power through the coup of 18 Brumaire, and in 1804, I declared myself Emperor of France. I led numerous wars across Europe. My victories at Austerlitz, Jena, and Wagram became legendary. With the introduction of the Napoleonic Code, I reformed the legal system, aiming to build a new order based on equality. However, my downfall began with the Moscow campaign, leading to my abdication in 1814. Though I briefly returned from exile on Elba Island, known as the 100 Days, my final battle at Waterloo ended my rule. I was then exiled to the island of St. Helena. In 1821, I passed away on that distant island. My imperial ambition was met with both admiration and criticism. Yet even today, my name still echoes at turning points in history. George Washington, founding leader of the United States and its first president. George Washington, servant of liberty, George Washington was born on February 22, 1732 in Virginia. In my youth, I engaged in farming and land surveying, yet fate had destined me for a great struggle for freedom. My experience in the French and Indian War prepared me for military leadership. When the American War of Independence began in 1775, I was chosen as Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army. Despite harsh winters, limited resources, and heavy losses, I fought with perseverance alongside my soldiers. Our victory at Yorktown in 1781 sealed America's independence. Though I wished to withdraw from public life after the war, I was elected the first president of our country in 1789, thanks to the public's trust. Remaining above party lines, I sought to ensure national unity. I advocated for neutrality in foreign relations, laying the foundation for an America that could stand on its own. I left office in 1797 and ended my public service with honor. Throughout my life, I believed in freedom, responsibility, and the will of the people. If my name still stands as a symbol of democracy today, it is because I walked in the light of these principles. Abraham Lincoln, the leader who abolished slavery and guided the U.S. through civil war. Abraham Lincoln, voice of freedom and unity. Abraham Lincoln was born on February 12, 1809 in the state of Kentucky into a poor farming family. I had a challenging childhood and was largely self-educated. Books opened doors to a vast world for me. Throughout my life, I stood for justice and human dignity. I entered politics at a young age and served in the Illinois House of Representatives. But my true struggle emerged through my stand against slavery. When I was elected President of the United States in 1860, the country was on the verge of deep division. Civil War broke out in 1861. I had to make difficult decisions to preserve the Union and ensure freedom. The Emancipation Proclamation I issued in 1863 was a major step toward officially ending slavery in America. As I said in my Gettysburg Address, "Government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth." When the war ended in 1865, I was filled with hope. But on a spring evening, I was assassinated in a theater. Though my life ended, my ideas continued to live on in the conscience of a nation. Winston Churchill, the voice of troubled times, I am. Winston Leonard Spencer Churchill, born on November 30, 1874, into an aristocratic British family. In my youth, I served in the military as a journalist and soldier in India, Sudan, and South Africa. I always loved adventure and struggle. I entered politics early, elected to the House of Commons in 1900. Over the years, I held many key offices, Home Secretary, First Lord of the Admiralty, Chancellor of the Exchequer, and Colonial Secretary. But my name was etched in world history during Russian World War II. In 1940, when Europe was drowning in darkness, I became Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. I defended my nation against the Nazi threat with unwavering resolve. I mobilized the public with my promise of blood, toil, tears, and sweat. Even as London burned, I never lost hope. My rule was, never, never, never give up. After a brief break, I served again as Prime Minister. I was among the first to use terms like Iron Curtain and Cold War. In 1953, I won the Nobel Prize in Literature because I believed wars were fought with words too. My life was devoted to freedom, to Britain, and to the resilience of the human spirit. I departed this world in 1965, but my voice still echoes. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Mahatma Gandhi, The Power of Silent Resistance. I am Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, born on October 2, 1869 in Porbandar, India. Justice, truth, and simplicity became my compass from early childhood. I studied law in England and confronted racial discrimination against Indians in South Africa. Thus began a lifelong struggle. My belief was simple: nonviolence, ahimsa, and truthful persistence, satyagraha, are the strongest weapons. I didn't need guns to make the world listen. I fought racism in South Africa with law, patience, and courage. When I returned to India in 1915, I had one goal: liberate my people from colonial chains. Through civil disobedience campaigns like the Salt March, I awakened national consciousness against the British Empire. Prisons couldn't stop me. I saw freedom not just as the body's liberty, but of the spirit. I held no hatred for my enemies. I believed, an eye for an eye will leave the whole world blind. My life's work was for the poor, for justice, and for the conscience of my people. On January 30th, 1948, a bullet silenced me, but my ideas lived on, like a torch of freedom, peace, and humanity carried from South Asia to South Africa and beyond. Julius Caesar, I shaped Rome's destiny. I, Gaius Julius Caesar, was born in 100 BCE into a noble family in Rome. In my youth, I studied both literature and warfare, but I wasn't destined to remain merely a writer or a soldier. I was meant to reshape Rome's fate. In politics, I supported the populares and gained the people's trust, growing stronger against the Senate. My greatest achievement was the Gallic Wars. I brought much of Europe under Rome's control and achieved legendary military victories. I kept detailed accounts of my campaigns, later published as Hanona Commentari de Bello Gallico. But when I crossed the Rubicon River, returning to Rome, I sparked a civil war. As I made that bold decision, I declared, the die is cast. After defeating the Senate's forces, I was declared dictator. I enacted reforms, changing the calendar, redistributing land to the poor, and reorganizing governance. Yet my power threatened the Senate. In 44 BCE, I was assassinated by those I once considered friends. Brutus among them, in the Senate House itself. My life ended, but my legacy laid the foundations of the Roman Empire. My name still resonates with power, charisma, and transformation. Mustafa Kemal Ataturk. The rebirth of a nation, rhymed. Mustafa Kemal Ataturk was born in 1881 in Thessaloniki. Love of country, the pursuit of independence, and a mind guided by reason shaped my life. I studied at military academies and served in the Ottoman army, but my true mission began with the liberation of my people. In 1915, my leadership in the Battle of Gallipoli inspired confidence and lifted national morale. In 1919, I began the War of Independence by landing in Samsun. Though the homeland was occupied, the nation's will remained unbroken. Through the Erzurum and Sivas Congresses, and with the foundation of the Grand National Assembly in 1920, sovereignty returned to the people. Victory in 1922 paved the way for Turkey's freedom. In 1923, we proclaimed the Republic of Turkey, and establishing a new state rooted in national sovereignty. In 1927, I entrusted our story to future generations in my speech known as Nutuk. During my presidency, I carried out many reforms. I modernized education, law, and the economy. I granted women the right to vote and be elected. I introduced the Latin alphabet to ease literacy. I separated religion from state affairs by embracing secularism. I lived by the principle, peace at home, peace in the world. I championed global peace and guided my people toward a future led by science and reason. I passed away on November 10, 1938, at Dolmabahce Palace. But my ideas live on in every flag, in every school, and in the spirit of youth. I was a soldier, a statesman, and a revolutionary. My greatest achievement, the Republic of Turkey. If you like this kind of history videos, like the video. If you want me to make a video about world leaders from past to present, don't forget to mention their names in the comments and subscribe to my channel.